Well, thank you, Chair. If it's all right with the Minister, I'd like to go back and forth for the short time that we have to go through this. Minister, I apologize for not being here at the earlier slot, but we'll hopefully get through as much as I can and not repeat what has previously been asked of you. Start with some things I'm sure weren't asked earlier. They're very specifically constituency related. Minister, the interchange of Yellowhead Highway 16 and Secondary Highway 897, also known as the Kitscotty Corner, remains a huge concern for constituents in Vermilion Lloydminster. Now, I know that the Transportation Department a few years ago began the process of doing design and has already had some public meetings in the community of Kitscotty. And I know that there was some concern with regards to some well abandonment that had to do in the area of the intersection in order to provide a proper alignment for the interchange. I just very much appreciate an update from some of your officials with regards to where things sit.
Okay, I'll see if anyone can provide that, and if not, we'll provide an answer in writing to you and other members of the committee. Pardon me? It's coming in writing.
Okay. That's just fine. Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope that certainly, I mean, I know that it wasn't in the budget or it wasn't identified as an unfunded project, but I also know that there's like a $2.3 billion line item for maintenance and renewal, although that probably wouldn't fall under that. But the roads and bridges part of the capital budget is significant, and I appreciate that. Two other areas that are of concern within the constituency, Minister, and you and I have talked certainly about one of them before, and I'd appreciate actually an answer from someone in the ministry that can explain this to me a little bit better, and that is Secondary Highway 870 south of Innisfree to the community of Kinsella, which is paved until it reaches the Beaver County line and then is unpaved. And it extends down to Kinsella, including the Roy Berg experimental farm and several gravel pits in the Kinsella area. This is a project that I've requested a number of occasions be considered with regards to paving. And the other one, while you're looking, is Secondary Highway 631, which sort of cuts across the top part of the Vermilion Lloydminster constituency and is shared with Blackbush St. Paul Two Hills. These are two roads I hear about regularly from constituents in terms of needed maintenance work. Specifically with 870, though, the request has been to partner with the county, with Beaver County, to look at getting this road paved. Now, Minister, I know you and I have discussed before that the traffic counts don't justify pavement, and I've argued back in return that if we rely only on traffic counts, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If a road gets lousy enough, people will stop using it. But I can tell you that this road is a road that would be used considerably if it was in better condition. I can't help but think that the cost of maintaining the gravel road as it exists today with the kinds of heavy loads, especially hauling gravel out of the Kinsella gravel pits, are significant. And you know, it's one that I would really like the department to take another look at, the possibility of paving that road, because it is just about the only north-south roadway in that whole area that isn't paved, and in fact starts out as being paved and then goes to gravel, sort of with no real explanation why.
I don't think it's alone in that respect,
okay.
In my experience. I don't know. I doubt that we've got an answer here, so we'll provide the answer to you as well.
With that, okay, thanks, Minister. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move then to something within the business plan. Now, I pulled out last year's business plan, and I appreciate that you probably don't have it with you today, but key strategy 6.1 in last year's transportation business plan on page 145 was read, create and implement a transparent asset management plan in partnership with municipalities, other governments, and industry, and examine the long-term sustainability of the network. It seems like a very good strategy. And then this year on page 148 of the business plan, key strategy 2.1 is identical, verbatim. Same strategy. And I can understand that this is an ongoing project, that it can't maybe all be accomplished in 1 year, but I'm just wondering, last year the goal was to create this asset management plan. Did it not get created last year? Is this something still that is on the to-do list? Or if it was created, where are things at? And you know, what sort of progress has been made?
Can you help with that?
So thank you for the question. That's something that is a work in progress. And as you can appreciate with the significant highway network that exists in the province, we need to take a look at, a number of factors, including the condition of the roads, the available funding, and the partnerships that we can create with both industry and with local and municipal governments. So we don't have a strategy to date, but it's something that we continue to
Is there a target
develop.
date for having that process completed? Like, I mean, I know that once it's in place, it's going to be an ongoing thing and a living, breathing entity. But I guess I'm just wondering, you mentioned that some progress has been made, and I recognize the transportation network is huge.
We don't have a date, no.
Don't have a date? Okay. Another topic then, Minister, that I just wanted to follow up on, and this was brought up actually in question period today, and that is we all share in Alberta the concern with regards to the Trans Mountain expansion and where that's going. But earlier, actually last fall, I attended a meeting in high level that was involved municipal leaders from that area that talked about the proposal for a railway to Alaska, essentially. And interestingly, what I didn't know at that time, they told me that that's been something that's been talked about in northern Alberta for as long as folks have been in northern Alberta. But I think this current dispute that we're having with British Columbia brings us into sharp focus as the need for another alternative. The Van Horn Institute did a study that was sponsored by the government of Alberta that has demonstrated that it is a feasible project, and it is a project that has capacity to transport other commodities other than just bitumen, forest products, mineral products, which certainly the Yukon and the Northwest Territories are extremely interested in the possibility of spurring off that line. So I guess my question is, Minister, I understand that the Economic Development and Trade Minister has met with the proponents. Have you, and if not, have they at least connected with you with regards to, the potential for this project?
They have connected with the Minister of Economic Development and Trade on this matter, and I've had just a very brief discussion with him. I also had a discussion with the several municipal officials at the RMA conference as well. That's very interested in this. So I have to say that it's fairly new to me. I was just made aware of it just in the last, I think the conversation we had during the 15-minute bell break was probably the first that I'd really heard of it. So I have asked for more information with respect to that. I think that it's an interesting project. My understanding, and I haven't seen this, but my understanding is that there was a major announcement about the capital that they'd raised fairly recently, and I have not seen that in my clips, but my understanding is that they have actually raised considerable amount of private capital.
Well, they're actually seeking actually $0 from governments, and much of the capital that they've raised is offshore. But what's intriguing about the project is that the equity is eventually going to shift over to the First Nations along the route that are going to take an equity share in the project, which I think is a positive thing. The rolling stock and specifically the engines are going to be electrically powered, with power from wind turbines located along the route, and the potential for carrying multiple commodities is intriguing. Minister, just my final...
I understand, just so I can interject, that at the terminal where it would arrive, there is an existing grain terminal there. So it could also...
At Delta in Alaska, and the line could be extended to Valdez. That's an option.
Yep.
The other advantage of Valdez, of course, is it's 4 days closer to China, and completely eliminates the problem with the tanker ban on the West Coast, and has much larger capacity tankers going into Valdez than are currently able to go into Burnaby. So I just say that we should keep our options open. Finally, a very short period of time, I only got 30 seconds. Minister, what can you tell us, flesh out a little bit about the rural bus pilot project. I mean, I was glad to hear that.
Yeah.
It's a small amount of money that's
Yes.
been designated, but who's going to be involved and how are you going to evaluate the projects?
So we received applications, so
Right.
it's designed for municipalities to work together. So let's see, Medicine Hat and surrounding communities, both urban and rural.
Okay.
Lethbridge, Red Deer, Athabasca, what else? Camrose.
Right.
And
Okay, we'll move on now
yeah.
to the
Sorry,
private
that's a
members
good
of the
question.
government caucus, please.